Hello and welcome. In this video, I will introduce you to some key questions you need to ask before you begin any development. Before you do anything, you need some ideas. What should your website actually do? A website can do basically anything, but for your first try, you should keep things very simple. We'll start by creating a simple web page with a heading, an image, and a few paragraphs. To begin, you will need to answer these questions. What is your website about? Do you like pets? Do you like games? Do you like travel? And so on. What information are you presenting on the subject? Write a title and a few paragraphs and think of an image you would like to show on your page. What does your website look like? In simple high-level terms, what's the background color? What kind of font is appropriate? Formal, a cartoony looking font, bold and loud, subtle. These are some of the questions that you need to answer in order to help your planning stage. Hello and welcome. In this video, I will introduce you to sketching out your design. Get a pen and paper and sketch out roughly how you want your site to look. For your first simple web page, there's not much to sketch out, but you should get in the habit of doing this now. It really helps. You don't really have to be a Van Gogh. This is my sketch. This is what I have sketched out on paper. So there will be a text at the top here and also a name. And then this is an image. When you click on the image, it will change to another image. We've also got a few paragraphs and unordered or bulleted list of items. Also got a paragraph with a link embedded. Also a button at the bottom of the page. When the button is clicked, you can change the name on the page, say from John to Jane or whatever name you prefer. The page will have this inner content area and also this outer content area here that will have a different color. You can design your website whatever way you like, but try and keep it simple at this beginner stage. Hello and welcome. In this video, I will introduce you to some assets you will need to develop your website. Assets are various components you will use in building your website. Let's take a look at some assets. We'll start with a text. You need to know what text you want to use. For example, paragraph, title, list items, and so on. You can choose the theme color by using any free color picker tool. For example, webpagefx.com. There are so many color picker tool. Just do a Google search for color picker tool. You can select a color by its name or by the hexadecimal or hex values, which is something like this here. This is what is called the hex value. So the idea is to go through and just pick out whatever color you need. You can play around with these. Once you find the color you need, you can just copy the hexadecimal values into your code editor. You also need images, but you must be careful not to just grab any images you see on the web because they may be copyrighted. However, there is a good website called Unsplash.com that allows you to use its images for free, but they do ask if you could give the owner of the images some credit. It's not mandatory, but it's useful to acknowledge if you do use any of their images. This is Unsplash.com, and they have lots of free images you can use. All you need to do is, you don't necessarily have to log in. You can just explore by clicking on these three dots here, and you can just go, and there's option for you to search depending on what type of images you are looking for. You just type in whatever you're looking for. For example, if you're looking for something relating to beaches, you just type in beaches and it has different images that comes up, and there should be an option to just download, and you can just give the credit. When you click on this download link, there's an option here to tell you say thanks, and so that means you can copy this. When you click copy, that means it will put a reference on your web page to this image, so they know who created the image. So I strongly recommend you give credit to whoever has designed the image if you decide to use any of their images. Another asset you are going to need is fonts. So you need to know what type of fonts you'll be using for your website. Google has a collection of fonts, quite a big library, so you can go there and just look through the fonts and see whatever one you like. If you do find one you like, you can reference them inside your code editor. This is the Google font homepage. So the idea is it gives you a sample of what the fonts is going to look like. So you just look through, and if there's any fonts that you like, you can just take note of the name, and then you can reference that from the link inside your code